Happy Sunday, guys. My name is Naisha Hoover. I am a licensed mental health therapist, licensed in Mississippi, Texas, and Oregon. Today, our topic will be high-functioning anxiety. High-functioning anxiety is a term used to describe feeling chronically. Chronically means it's something that's happening all the time, while still appearing capable, productive, and composed. A lot of us are high-functioning anxiety people. And I say us because I have to watch myself as well and be aware of my anxiety when it gets too high, and also decipher when I am now functioning in my anxious spirit versus my calm spirit. So from on the outside, a high functioning person with anxiety can look like success, but on the inside is often a constant feel of tension. Your brain is always going a million miles per minute. And there's also this pressure to keep going. People with this experience often describe it as reliable, driven, and high achieving. But internally, you may feel restless, self-critical, and afraid of slowing down. And this is also a thing that society does not make easy either, because what you always hear, if you're not making moves with your full 24, you're really not doing nothing. But that mindset and that inability to feel like you cannot slow down is what creates this pressure pot for people to function in anxiety. And because people are functioning, most of the time you overlook these people because you think that they are functioning fine. They are really good at hiding the distress signals within themselves. And it also doesn't match the stereotypical outlook of what anxiety is supposed to be, because they're getting things done. So internally, there's this wrestling within yourself where I must be okay, I'm getting stuff done. But we got to be careful with those feelings. For these people that are high functioning with anxiety, their anxiety drives the productivity, the preparation, and also them being perfect in everything. And again, that's what makes it hard to notice. People who experience high functioning anxiety are often described as follows. I'm going to read it off to you guys. Constant overthinking or replaying conversations, difficulty relaxing even during downtime, a strong fear of disappointing others, feeling responsible for holding everything together. I believe that rest has to be earned, as if we are not beings that are deserving of rest enough from just our day-to-day walk with life. Now, I'm not saying that you should not do anything. You definitely should be productive. But we have to be careful of when we allow anxiety to be the driving force of our productivity. And also internally, when we allow anxiety to overtake us, your nervous system is in a constant state of activation. We all have heard fight, flight, or freeze. Our bodies are not designed to be in that type of state all the time. Our body is designed to be in that state when there's a danger that happens. Because remember, when we are stressed, our cortisol level goes up, right? And our heart gets to pumping real fast. If we're always in that state, things like high blood pressure, you can gain weight because your cortisol level are high. There's so many negative things that can happen to your body and also to your mind when you're always in that constant state. So research shows that long-term activation of stress response, even at a moderate level, can affect sleep, concentration, emotional regulation, and physical health. In research, this sometimes is described as allostatic load. An allostatic load refers to the cumulative or increasing burden of repeated stress over time. It's not just about how intense the stress is, it's how ongoing it is. And this helps explain why someone can be functioning and still feel exhausted, tense, or depleted, which is a fancy word for feeling empty. So you can allow your anxiety to be the driving force of your day, but do we want these side effects that come with it? Of course, day-to-day stuff, you may be tired. That's normal. But when we are allowing our anxiety to drive us, things that we want to do, we can no longer do it because we're so tired. Because keep in mind, your body is always fighting, or it's in that constant state of that high stress release. So your body is working, your mind is working. and it's very exhausting. And the thing about this type of anxiety too is we often reward this type of behavior. We often say that this person here is an overachiever, they're very responsible, and they're always available. That one coworker that always has their hands in everybody's stuff. And it's not that they're trying to be mean or rude, it's just that they want to do so much and they want to be available and be helpful, but in the end, it burns them out quicker. You may find them complaining about certain things. These are the people who do their jobs, but also others. And over time, they often overextend themselves with projects. So their anxiety often becomes intertwined with their identity. So we can just put this example to work. We all know that person that gets praised for doing their work in others. When you keep on praising these people that do their jobs and other people's jobs, that often becomes intertwined with their identity. And so now we are commending the very thing that is not healthy. And then in return, these people that function like that, they start doing it more and more and more. Anxiety can mask itself as the driver force behind all of your projects, all of your planning, all of things that you're doing in your everyday life. Over time, slowing down can feel unsafe, even when the body is asking for rest. So remember, going back to it, you don't feel like you deserve rest unless you do 10,000 projects in one day. If you don't do your 10,000 projects, oh no, I don't need to rest. I need to just do my own stuff. Research links chronic anxiety and perfectionism to increased shame and difficulty with emotional vulnerability. People may struggle to ask for help or feel undeserving of support. They may appear calm in relationships while internally scanning for mistakes or signs of disapproval. So these are people that often feel unsure of themselves despite them performing at a higher level. Keep in mind that with therapy, working around high functioning anxiety usually isn't about removing ambition or motivations. We want you to have that. It's about understanding what the anxiety has been protecting against, right? So often there's a history of learning that being prepared, being useful or exceptional was a way to stay safe or valued. So that person feels like if I don't always stay on my P's and Q's, as we used to say, then I'm not bringing anything to the table. But that's not true. You are more than enough to be that great person or to do what is needed without always have to feel that you have to be perfect in order to feel valued. We find that people are most critical of themselves. We have to be better at talking kinder to ourselves. Because when we don't talk kind to ourselves, but we're giving life to other people, we're not pouring into our own cup. And that is so important. Because once your cup gets depleted and then you find you're still pouring to other people, that's not good for you long term. So there has to be a give and a take. So in therapy, there's focus on nervous system regulation, self-compassion, and building a sense of internal safety that isn't dependent on what we produce. Even if you don't finish that project today, but you finish it Friday, you are still a great person. You are worthy of that job still. Doesn't mean that you are a terrible person. We have to stop putting these unrealistic expectations on ourselves to get things done, especially in the job setting. And I know I bring up job settings because that's where we predominantly see it a lot, is in jobs. If you relate to high functioning anxiety, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. It just means that we now have to figure out different things that are positive or that is more realistic to get your nervous system to calm down. And keep in mind, a little bit of anxiety is fine. It's normal. We are human. We're going to feel the feeling of anxiety. So I'm not going to ever say to get rid of anxiety because it's an emotion that can keep us focused. And it shows that we deserve or want to achieve something or complete a task that's very important to us. What I am going to say is that we have to learn how to use this type of feeling for our advantage versus our detriment. The movie that speaks out to me is Inside Out 2. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie before. It's an animation, but I love animations. And I find the animations there's always a meaning behind it. So in Inside Out 2, it really shows a great depiction of what anxiety can look like when we are not in control of that emotion versus when we are aware of that emotion. So if you haven't watched that movie, I think it's a great movie to watch. It talks about the different emotions and how these different emotions are important. It's not realistic to be this happy person all the time. You're gonna have sadness, pain, anger, nervousness, or anxiety, jealousy. You're gonna have all these different emotions. The thing that I want people to get out of therapy is learning how to acknowledge these feelings and figuring out a way to resolve these feelings in a healthy manner. We don't want to act out or lash out at other people dealing with certain emotions that are negative. So again, that's why I'm here to help, to provide a different experience for you to be greater in life. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye. To book a consultation, go to my website, click book free consultation, scroll down, pick the date that you want, the time that you want, and then you're going to scroll below, put in your information, and then you check the box if you would like, and then you'll schedule a meeting. Make sure you check out the website, guys. And then other than that, that's it. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.